What's good? Update the channel. It's been a minute. Got rid of the RM125. That bike was no good. Ended up having some engine block issues. Really was not trying to dive into the machining process. Got rid of that thing ASAP. Done with that. That bike I no longer own. But something exciting has happened and sad. I got rid of the two-stroke Doom buggy in a trade, but I traded it for this RM250 two-stroke, 2002. You're probably thinking, what the fuck? I mean, this is a basket case, right? But no, when I got this was a completely good running bike. I took it out for one solid, actual good run. I rode it a couple times in the backyard. It was running fine, everything. And I took it out for an actual good ride. And then I took it up this hill climb, went up to the top, turned the engine off, waited for my brother and my friend. And when they got up, I was ready to go back down, went to kickstart the bike to turn it back on, and basically it's just locked. Well, I kicked it once and it didn't start. I was like, weird, because it's hot. Then I went to kick it again and it was just like straight up jammed. So pushed it all the way back home, took it home, tore the engine apart, and I'm gonna have this thing rebuilt completely. Oh, hi, Aiden from the future here. Forgot to mention, third gear doesn't work. And then brand new cosmetics. I might even do just a straight up bolt up restoration. This is a really great platform, 2003. I mean, it's not the newest, but to me it's newer. My old bike was a 1989 CR250 and it is hard to find parts, so it makes you not want to dump as much money into it, knowing that something's gonna break and you're never gonna be able to find the part. The bike's garbage at that point. But 2003 RM250, I mean, that was a really good race bike. It was a really good year for them. They went from like 2000 to 2007. Most of them were similar in most of the parts, besides some engine and maybe suspension work. But basically, you can still find lots of parts for this bike. Like, it's not too bad to find. It's not like a 90s bike or 80s bike. And from what I've seen, this bike is a really, really great bike. I'm a Honda guy at heart. CR2 strokes are my favorite. CR250 two strokes, but RM250, I've heard nothing but really great reviews about this bike. Some people say it's even better, so this is the bike I'm sticking with for now. I still got my 1989 CR250 two-stroke to compare, but you know, it's a little older. My buddy got his 93 two-stroke CR250 Honda, and that one's gonna be more of a comparison, so stay tuned. All right, fun fact. I will not be sending it to a company to rebuild. I will be attempting to tear this apart myself and rebuild it. I saw a video on YouTube and explained it very thoroughly how to take it apart and very thoroughly how to put it back together. So I'm confident if I get the right tools and follow this process correctly, I should be fine. So far, what I've done is taken off both these covers. Obviously got the piston off. Took this Kickstarter off, which was a pain in the bitch. I really had to spray it with this and kept on having to heat it up with a blowtorch and then whack it with a hammer on a screwdriver for about 45 minutes until that came off, completely rusted on. I should be fine. And then yeah, if that wasn't fun enough, the bolt, there was no bolt holding on the drive shaft sprocket. It was welded on. You can see the little marks, those tabs, where somebody welded on that over the freaking sprocket. So that was fun cutting off. I should be fine. But now that all the crappy things are out of the way, I think we should just be able to split this case fine. Okay, so I just split the case and it is not looking great. I think we might be missing a power valve gear right there. And there was just this floating around jamming up this, and that's why it actually locked up. So I think there's supposed to be I think this was the retainer washer, and there was supposed to be a screw that goes in there, which I wouldn't be surprised if they just didn't put it on or if it came out. I wouldn't even know. This bike's been crazy already. I should be fine. But yeah, that is some shit. I'm gonna have to look into that. Looks like those gears are in there, and one is chipped, but there is some free play. I will need to replace that gear. I should be fine. just keeps getting funner and funner. Look at this fun surprise. Should be fine. Oh, here's some more fun hell. Screws were not coming loose, so I had to buy this screw extractor kit. Working on this for another hour. Finally got this one undone. Jesus Christ. See if we can get this other one done. Not the best outcome for this one, but at least we can get it off. And at least we got one screw out, so I mean, we'll see what we gotta do. One screw can technically hold it in, but I'll see if I can figure something out. Yeah, so I'm basically just drilling a hole in the hole, and it's not really taking the old thread out. So I might just have to tap a new screw into it, which sucks, but is what it is. Should be fine. Alright, after tons of fighting, finally got the nut off this clutch basket. Should be fine. Got the clutch basket out, got all the shifting mechanism out, kickstarter, and I think we are good to split the case. And I did just notice, I found that bolt. It's sitting down there. The missing screw from right here that was supposed to hold this sprocket on, that, you know, we found that washer that exploded. This was supposed to hold that washer on. Well, it looks like we'll need both new ones. And honestly, I'm not even too surprised that this unthreaded itself, because a lot of the screws in this have either been way too tight or just completely buttfuck loose. Like, yeah, I don't even know if I can get that back in there. Jeez. Hope I don't even need a new crank. God, it's so annoying. Or excuse me, this sprocket held this sprocket on right there. But anyways, we are now ready to split the case. So that's gonna be fun using this new Oswell Tusk tool. Alright, so I found out it's neither a 2003 or a 2002. It's actually a 2001, so, you know, that's fun. I checked the VIN on the engine case, and it said it could be 2001 or 2002, so I was like, it's probably a 2002, because that's actually what the guy told me, not a 2003. That's what he told me, it was a 2002. And then I checked the frame, and that said it was a 2001, so... And then I went online to get parts, and I noticed there was K1, K2, K3, like versions for all the modern RM250 parts. And I was like, what is this? So I looked it up, and pretty much the number after K just means what year bike you have. So I was looking at the parts for K1, and they matched all my parts. So, I mean, there you go. She's a 2001. All right, got the cases split. Went through all the diagrams. I made sure all the gears and washers and everything were there and correctly in order. Now that this thing's completely split apart, I've made sure we have all the parts we needed. And everything is looking good now. Things are starting to go my way. Now it's just time to get any new parts I need, like sills, bearings, whatever, and clean this bitch and slap her back together. Man, that screw that came loose and was rattling around in here, look at that. Did some shit there. Did some scuffing up there. I'm pretty sure this case is still usable, but man, that's like crazy. Looks like this lip is a little bit lower than the sill, so if anything's supposed to go through there, that shouldn't affect it. So it looks like we're all clear. Shift forks have a little bit of wear. I'm gonna see if I can get away with these though. I'm gonna look up the specifications. This one seems fine. Third one seems to be fine as well, and that's all the shift forks. So what you're looking for is some in grooves right there. It's usually where it'll be. There's like not really much on this one at all. But once it gets grooved in right there, these forks, they just push the gears in place. And if it's in grooved, it's not gonna push it all the way in gear. That's when you're gonna have shifting issues. Honestly, not 100% sure why this bike would not go into third gear. I'm thinking it's because the shifting linkages were just completely loose. Like in this area, or was it right here? All that stuff was completely loose, and I'm pretty sure I watched a video of them pull it out and it was in one solid piece. So I'm assuming, oh, and one of the screws, they definitely were finger loose. Like I was saying, a lot of the nuts and bolts in this are either too tight or too loose. So I'm assuming that's probably what the third gear issue was. Like I said, I'm gonna go over the forks and make sure those are in spec, make sure we have all the parts, double check it. Then I'm gonna throw it back together and just keep double checking the manual over and over and over again. Make sure we're not missing any parts. It all go back together nicely with no problems besides this. I'm gonna have to thread a new bolt into that, but that's not the biggest deal. It's a good thing I double checked this thing and triple check it, because I found out there's actually one singular washer missing from the entire transmission assembly. And when I bought this bike, I was told it didn't have third gear because they forgot one washer. So that honestly might be the culprit. Oh, and yeah, this was fun. So that whole bottom part of the bracket was just completely snapped off, rusted away, missing. So I had my buddy weld in some pretty good thick steel right there, and we got it to work. But yeah, we're just gonna have to cut that off. And yeah, that's fun, I guess. Goofy ass mismatching fucking foot pedals. Alright, I got the bearing pulling kit, the sill puller, and a nicer screw extraction kit. And I was able to get all the bearings out of this. And now I just need to clean her up. Alright, all the parts I ordered are in. I got all OEM gaskets, and well, not OEM, but gaskets and sills. And I ordered 3 new OEM shift forks because I just don't want to throw this thing back together and then not have third gear. I ordered a used one of these bad boys that mine was broken. Don't know what they're called. And then a bunch of other random parts that were missing or broken or stripped or something need replaced. So now it's time to throw this bitch back together. Cleaning the engine cases out with good old carb cleaner. And then I'm gonna be stripping the gaskets, getting any other excess gunk off, getting it nice and clean, and then throw this bitch back together. All right, I just got my Hot Rods transmission bearing kit, and I also ordered a Hot Rods crank bearing kit, but I looked into that, and I got it, and I will be sending it back and getting a OEM crank bearing kit, because I do not want that to blow up. New update. No longer have a CR250 either. Traded that for this truck right here. Really needed a truck, so that was a stupid good trade in my opinion. 5.0 V8, 4-wheel drive, long bed, dual cab. It's automatic. It's got over 200,000 miles, but OBS Ford, I mean, this side doesn't look as good. I'm gonna definitely do some body work to it, get it looking better. But yep, no more Honda CR250. I'm going full on RM250. So this bike better be, in fact, I know it's gonna be fucking great because I've ridden it once before it blew up and it was better than the Honda. Granted, my Honda was 1989, but still. My friend's got a 93 Honda and I've ridden that one. The RM feels almost exactly like the 93 CR, which is a really fucking good CR. So we're gonna stick with it. All right, update. So the bolt that broke off inside the crankshaft, which caused us to all lock up in the first place, is still mostly in there. And I took it to a machine shop, actually a motocross shop specifically, to see if they could tap it out and maybe get new threading in there. And they said they'd have to insert a helicoil, and it would ultimately make this not as reliable and the potential to just snap. Hi, Sassy. And they didn't even really want to do it, so I needed a new crank.
Hope I don't even need a new crank.
And then I found out they don't make cranks for this bike anymore. And then I found out that aftermarket companies don't make cranks for it either. So I had to find the best used one I could, which was marked up for a measly price of $400. And here's the new one. It literally looks worse than mine. Yeah, so luckily I only needed this half of it, which is the better looking side. This side is like actually like scuffed and damaged. I think this one can be cleaned, but I'm gonna have them Frankenstein all the best pieces from these two cranks together, throw it together with some new OEM bearings and maybe even an OEM rod, OEM pins, washers, and yeah, that was a pain in the ass. And yeah, besides that, I already got my transmission all together. I'm just waiting to get my crank rebuilt now, and I'll press it in there, and then I'll be able to throw the bottom end back together, and then the bottom end will be essentially done. Hi, Sassy. Then after I get the bottom end together, I'll just be working on this outer casing part with most of these pieces. Then once I throw that back together, that's all the hard stuff out of the way. All right, we got the crankshaft back, fully rebuilt, put in brand new shift forks. Everything's sandwiched back together now. It's just for the...
All right, I got the Kickstarter assembly on, shifter assembly. Got the crankshaft all back together. It's all fixed. Got a new bolt. I am happy and sweaty. All right, so I ended up just JB welding that one bolt. The hole was way too fucked up to put new threading or anything in. So I just JB welded that in, got the other one nice and tight, made sure it was all in the right fitment and everything, and then I smacked this case on top to sandwich the top spline, and the bottom spline's already in this case half. So it'll dry perfectly straight. And then once that's dry, I'm gonna take this case off because there's still one last bearing that didn't come with my bearing kit that is actually what it's in, that holding the thing. It's cleaning up nicely. Less parts on the ground, getting some more space now. Got all these old bearings and sills. Threw some of them away too. Crank halves, look at all that shit.
Sorry I'm not showing the complete details of everything, by the way. Yeah, my favorite channel actually that kind of inspiring me to do this is like 2 Vintage, and there's another one called Vasily Builds, and they like to show every detail of what they're doing, and I mean I like that because it's really helpful, but also at the same time it's like I kind of want to make it a little show everything what I'm doing, but I want to show every detail because I want to make it bearable to watch for people that aren't super into it, to maybe get them into it a little bit more too. But if everyone is more interested into seeing a more detailed video next time, I can show step by step, and it'll probably be closer to an hour instead of like 20 or 25 minutes or whatever this video is going to be like. Just like let me know in the comments, you know, like. All right, so I just got a shipment in. I got these 2 shiny new screws right there that was missing when I took this apart. Brand new sprocket because this was the one that was welded on all flat, and it's even like bent. And I got a brand new black sprocket, brand new gold chain. I got clutch plates soaking right now. Got a new clutch basket, threw that one in there. Crush washer. Once I get those plates on there, I'll be able to slap that cover on, and that side of the bottom end will be done. I'm just waiting for my clutch cable to come in, throw that on, slap that cover on, then that side of the engine will be done, then boom. Bottom end will be complete 100% at that point. Then it'll just be the top end that I need to get. Also, just look at this.
It'll fucking load. I had to cut the old sprocket off, and that's what it left me with. Luckily, this circlip still goes all the way around and latches on. But I don't want to buy a new main transmission, like, what the fuck you even call this? It was expensive though. Gonna be using this Bel-Ray 80 weight gear saver transmission oil. Got a new air filter in there as well. That's what this is soaking in. And it says right here it takes 750 milliliters. And I went ahead, milliliters right there. I went ahead and used about 250 of the milliliters. Perfect amount for that to soak in, and then I have 750 left to fill the case. Perfect amount if you do this, and then I put that to take up the space in the center, so all the oil is just in that ring, perfectly soaking it up. It leaked, as you can see. Fixed it. And when everything's done, I'm gonna be running this on the good old Klotz R50, nothing but the best. All right, we got the top end ordered coming. Got the clutch cable finally coming. Cleaning out the fucking top end now, getting ready. Throw this all back together. Damn, this shit's hella oily. You know, the usual problems, but at this point, not even phasing me anymore. All right, we just went through the carb, cleaned it all out, got a new gasket, put some brand new bolts in it, got a new throttle cable, all snappy. New grips, new plastics, new air filter. Getting excited. I was gonna buy some new reeds for it, but it looks like I already got some V-Force Moto Tassinari reeds, which look really good. They got carbon fiber pedals, and as you can see, they're airtight still. Look pretty brand new actually. Just need to give this a good cleaning before I install it. All right, I'm just waiting for FedEx to get here with my top end kit. Got this all honed out with this bad boy right here. I just used the Klotz R50 oil to lubricate it while I did that and cleaned it all out. Got this all cleaned on and put back on the reeds. And I got the carburetor all good to go. And I'm just waiting for the kit, and it's gonna all go back together, and then we'll see if she starts. Nothing to see over here. All right, we got that fresh Weisico piston in there. Weisico's only brand piston I buy. Super smooth. Got brand new gaskets. Slam this thing back together and start her up. All right, got it all back together. Got the exhaust on. Just need to put on the gas tank and seat, and then we're good to see if this thing fires up. Sheesh. I was kicking it in first gear. That's why I didn't feel fucking great. Feels much better. Ow. What? Dude, I thought I fucked everything up. It was sounding so bad when I was kicking over. It was like, go, 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 go. I was like, oh no! And then I looked the back wheel, and I was kicking it over in first gear. Oh, it was fucking the whole dude. Dude.
All right, so it ran. It had lots of power. First gear was fine. Second gear was fine. I put it in third gear and I could feel it going in and out of gear, and then it just all locked up instantly. I'm pretty sure it shock loaded one of the dog teeth and snapped it off, and it's locking up the transmission now. Because the one thing I probably should have replaced, which I didn't, was the actual transmission gear for third gear. It was a little bit rounded off on the edge, but I thought it would still at least work if I got everything else made sure it was all tight. Because worn down doesn't mean not usable, but in my case, that it was not usable. It was too worn down. All right, we already got the engine all back out. Let's dig in. What do you think, Inspector Kitty? We got Inspector Sassy over here, making sure we're following regulations. Everything look okay? You want to check out the engine? Yeah? Alright. Looks like Sassy has given us the green light to go ahead and tear this apart. Let's get to it. Alright, so I got everything apart now, and engine's completely split apart. Got the transmission out there, and nothing at all has been broken. So I've been doing some digging, and I think I finally found out what happened. See that right there? The casing is broken right there. It's all just ripped off or cracked off. This bearing right here, flip this around. This is the other side. This bearing right here, when I hammered it in, it has like this lip it's supposed to grab onto, it's supposed to ride against on the other side, and that lip was like destroyed off. So this bearing was like not level, and it was pushed in there a little too deep, so it was kind of riding like that. And that happens to be with the shift drum rides in. So that was like wobbly like that, see? And if I put it in there all the way, not very straight. Well, it's kind of straight now because when I pulled the shift drum out, it like kind of pushed, it like yanked the bearing kind of back into place against those, which I now loosened. But it was wobbly like that. And when I shifted into third gear, that's when everything locked up. So I'm guessing the shift drum was just bent out of place just enough because of that bearing not riding correctly, that it made the shift forks just kind of make the gears bind just a little bit and not go into third gear all the way. And also there's a little bit of that on my brand new shift fork, which sucks because that's kind of what the old one looked like. But looks like I need a new case, so that's ultra fun. But you know what, it's probably best that I get a new case, because this is literally the same half that I had to JB weld that screw in there after tearing it out, and this is the one that the bolt came undone originally, which is the whole reason I started this whole rebuild, which did all the scuffing up. Okay, I got everything swapped into the new case. Everything's put back together. New case looking very nice. Or this old shitty fucking broken one. And there is one difference out of this whole case I noticed, which is different, because I ordered a 2002 case because that's the only one I could find. I couldn't find any 2001s that weren't like destroyed, because they're the same exact engine case. I looked at everything except for one thing I didn't just barely notice after putting it on. Right there. See that? It has a little bit of, tilled out for some porting. I could technically just like get rid of that metal right there, make it the same as this, but this is a newer case half, so they must have filled it in as something as a benefit. I don't know if it's gonna make it uneven on the piston, if it's gonna make like airflow go weird, but we're gonna work with this because I think it's still gonna work. It still has clearance, everything else still works, and I could still shave away that metal if I need to. But considering how everything happens in the cylinder and the explosion happens up here, at the top of the piston, I'm guessing that's not gonna affect the evenness of the engine performance. So maybe it will. We'll find out. Let me know in the comments if you know more than me, because I don't know much.
Alright, everything's back together for the second time. Let's see what she does. Alright, so after getting it all back together again and firing it up, going back into third gear, it did the same exact thing. So here we are, and I have figured out the problem. It definitely was the rounded gear. So this is what they're supposed to look like. These are like slightly worn, but they're still perfectly fine. They go into gear just fine. This is what third gear looks like. See how round those edges are? It's a really round edge. Like it's not gonna catch. Like this will catch. And you can see it's been slipping because the surface is silver. Like it's been slipping and sliding on top and just mauling itself in the corresponding gear right here. It's not as bad, but it's still kind of mauled the gear. So I'm gonna replace both of these and hope this time fixes the third gear issue. Oh, on some other news, I got a new one of these cases, so my leak of coolant will stop. I couldn't buy one brand new because they were all out of stock. And this isn't even for the right ear, but it didn't say online it matches up, but it actually is the same exact part and does match up. And I still couldn't buy this one new either. I had to find it used. And I couldn't even find it used by itself. I had to buy it with one of these covers. But it was still $60 cheaper than one of these brand new. And still is going to get the job done just fine. So, hey, I'm not complaining. I got a new one of these covers. Look at this. This is the old one. Has kind of some scuffing from that original bolt unfortunate incident. You can clean that up on this side too now. And it'll be all goodbye to that bolt incident. No scars. Although I'm not 100% sure if this case matches though yet, so we'll verify, but I'm thinking it does so far. Alright, Inspector Sassy didn't do a good job, so we fired her and we got a new inspector in the house. Ibo, what do you think? What do you think about this bottom end, huh? You think this time's the one? Shit, I think too. Got them brand new gears in. That is that sharpness corner we are looking for. I have a feeling today is the day. And just like that, time for some more waiting. This is the gear that was damaged I had to replace. This is the one I bought to replace it with, and you can see the splines in the center are different. This is a 2001. This is actually for a 2003, but it was for some reason in the same OEM parts diagram, so that's fun. I found out I can't find a brand new or used version of the 2001 gear. So I'm gonna have to go out, buy an entire new 2001 used transmission set. Hopefully I can find a good deal. I found this transmission set that most of the gears were broken except for this third gear one for 70 bucks. So I'm gonna hopefully send it on that, and it's gonna be a little bit of a gamble to see if those teeth are gonna be like this or not, but kind of my only option. It's only 70 bucks too, so that's where we're at. All right, my gamble came out in my favor. I ended up auctioning $45 for an entire spare transmission set because 3 of the gears broke, 3 ones that I don't need.
And now I got a whole new transmission shaft to replace my old one. You can see how nice this looks. See how fucked my old one is? I mean, it worked fine, but this is just better now. And I got a new transmission shaft and the gear that I was gambling. Here's the old one. Fucked. And here is the new one. Now that looks actually pretty solid, like it'll work. Yes, sir. All right, we got this together for the third and final time. I rebuilt this bitch 3 times now. Okay. New gears and everything. I don't see a single problem that could be wrong this time. It has to work, so let's see if she runs. So far, the engine runs at least. Very usual. Holy shit. Bike is finally fixed. First gear works, second gear works, third gear works, fourth gear works, even fifth gear works. And it idles and runs great, and everything is brand new now. Now, the next will be just be cosmetics. She fucking runs, guys. We fixed it. Finally. All right. Brand new gas tank just got in. Installed with the rest of the white plastics. Just waiting for a bolt kit to come in so I can really get all the bolts covered and have it on correct. Then I'm getting a decal kit. And then this thing's gonna get a new seat cover. It's gonna look great. All right, I got this JD jetting kit I'm gonna be installing since the jets that were in it when I got it were completely wrong, or at least for this altitude. It was like a 180. It was a 185 main jet and a 42 pilot jet in this, which they come stock with a 48 pilot jet. And I think it's like 160 to the early 170s for the main jet. So 185 is like stupid high. And I mean, it ran like fine, honestly. It's just like when you give it the good old quick snap, you know, it wants to bog. But you slowly get into it, rev throughout the whole range. So hopefully this makes it perfect. Oh, my bad. Looks like a 165, not a 185. But that pilot jet is still way too small. God fucking damn it. I'm so sick of over-torquing brass bits. Let me get my shit together. Alright, we got it out with the trusty old screw extractor set. And luckily it was a 165 actually, not a 185, so I'll just throw that back in there because it called for a 162. And now that I know that JD Jetting calls for it, I'll just order a normal 162 main jet for like 15 bucks and then use the rest of the James Dean jet kit and should be chilling. Every time I dig deeper into this bike, I think about putting the people I bought it from on blast because what the fuck is going on? Like, seriously? everything's good to go. It's time to take it on its first actual ride. Alright, so it seems to run great. It just wants to bog a little bit until you get to half throttle, then it just fucking takes off and feels normal. And that could be a couple different things. One being I just jetted it and need to fine tune the needle and find the right clip. The second thing is this guy right here, which is what I'm going to do right now, is mess with that and tighten the exhaust valve spring, because that's a tensioner to, and maybe it's just so tight, or maybe I need to loosen it, because maybe it's just so tight where you really just have to get on it to open up the higher end of the exhaust power valve. And the third thing that could possibly be is this dent, which I don't think that would be doing it really, but I'm gonna get that pipe replaced. Actually pretty good. Wasn't bogging as much. Maybe it just need to be cleared out / broken into. We're gonna try, might be too tight. We're gonna try loosening it and see if that helps. Okay. Sounds a lot better. So the idle definitely needs to go up just a little bit. And I think I see now with it over that side, it's it wants to wait more towards the top end to really open up. So that's definitely got to be a little bit tighter. Also, fucking leaking carb. Need to check on the float again. Already. God, I should probably just invest in an Electron, honestly. Might do that. Much money as I spent this already. Might be worth it. I think that's gonna be the sweet spot right there. Giving it a nice good thorough rip, going through that power valve and adjusting it a little bit did definitely fix the bog issue, and now I got it tuned just to where I want it, and it fucking rips. I got it to pull hard in the low end and pull hard in the high end, and I mean, evidently, as you can see, we ripping now, bud. But I'm still gonna get a new pipe, new silencer, and I still gotta get that decal kit and the seat cover, and then I think she's gonna be finished. There's only gonna be one thing left after that. Just have the suspension reworked. That'll be the last thing. You know, it's funny. I could have / should have been making and posting all these videos and made this a giant series over the span of this last year, because I got this project and started it at the end of last winter, and now this winter is already approaching, and I feel like I'm not going to be done till the end of this winter. So yeah, this is going to be one super long, year-long video of my progress. Could have made a bunch of short ones. Might have been a better idea, but hey, just let me know in the comments what you think. Maybe long video is cooler. Maybe it's worth investing the time and waiting. Alright, so I emailed JD Jetting and told them that I broke one of the jets and asked if I could order a new one, and they just asked me what size it was and the address, and I was like, alright, and they just sent me a new one for free. So there we go, that's nice. Alright, just got the decal kit in. DC shoes for my boy Cam Block. I'm getting her installed. Alright, got the decals fully installed. Damn, she looks pretty. Just needs a new pipe, new seat cover. As long as you stay pretty far away, it looks pretty good. Because honestly, I'm terrible at installing this shit. Wrinkles there, wrinkles there. There's probably wrinkles on every single one, honestly. But from a distance, looks good. It'll do for me. Couple of parts where the aftermarket decal kit had a couple problems. Those right here, because my airbox is broken, so I'm gonna have to cut that off right there. And then I have an aftermarket gas tank, which is meant to resemble the stock gas tank, but it must be slightly different, because I'm gonna have to cut that off right there too, or just figure out how to taper it back or something. But besides those couple blemishes, my slight misaligning and folds, I think I did the job quite well. Acceptable, I'll say. Alright, so basically, I thought I'd be pretty much ending the build close to around here, but I had some more plans that I decided for the bike. So I will actually be ending this video as part 1, and we'll be starting a whole nother video for the second half of rebuilding my bike. And I got a lot of stuff planned for it coming up, and I may or may not have ordered an entirely new frame. So this has been now in exactly a year since I first started filming it, since I just made part 1. So stay tuned for part 2.